Alright, so today I decided to cook again. It's been a while since I've posted anything that I've cooked, so I'm going to video the cooking again. I'm going to show you the ingredients first. It's kind of a hodgepodge this time. I did cheat just a little bit and used a couple of cans to make this a lot quicker. So the cornbread mix and the cream corn both came out of a can. I think everything else is chopped up myself. So okay, so here are the ingredients. So we got cornbread mix, like I said, cheated on that. And there's a little milk there for the cornbread mix. Here's some ground turkey. Did I tell you what I was making? Cornbread casserole with the ground turkey instead of ground meat. And cream corn, like I said, got that out of the can because I am not going to sit here and shuck and peel and scrape off corn and make cream corn. So got that. Tomatoes I did chop, and green chilies I chopped. So these are green chilies, tomatoes. I got the mild green chilies, not the hot ones, because I'll heat it up with other things anyway, so I just don't want it to be too hot. Grated some cheese. It's a little tomato sauce. Did get that in a can? That's the other can I got. Tomato sauce. So I got tomato sauce in a can. I chopped up some garlic. I'm going to use 1 egg. That's for the cornbread. And jalapenos. That's for just the top. And I did cut those up and dice them up, and I tried to get as many seeds as I could, so it wouldn't be just too hot. And this is onion and bell pepper, and I usually keep them separate, but for this I can do it all together. So it's going to be kind of a ground meat mixture on the bottom, tomatoey, and then with the cornbread layer on top, and then we'll cook it. So spices I'm going to use, of course I'm going to put a little Tabasco in. That's why I didn't use the hot chilies. And some Paul Prudhonne's Meat Magic. I'm still trying to find Chicken Magic here and I cannot find it. And I love the Chicken Magic. But anyway, this is the Meat Magic. New Orleans Cajun seasoning. This is Weber. I need to find, in fact, I'll do that right now. Here's some sea salt. And they were out of the regular Cajun seasoning last time. This is my spice cabinet. But I did get some this last time I was in. So, Tony Cattry's Cajun seasoning, which is much better than Weber's. So, this is it. So, I'm going to tune out and start putting some things together, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Alright, so I've got a different stand, and I'm not liking my camera stand, but anyway, I went ahead and mixed the milk and the egg up in the cornbread batter, and I just got a regular package of Jiffy cornbread to do that. So real easy. I'm going to put about half of the cream corn in here, and I'm going to put the other half in the other part of it. And this reminds me of when I was young and my mother would make that jalapeno cornbread, and she'd put corn and cheese and all that stuff in it, and that's kind of what we're doing. I just put the cheese in. I don't know how much that was, maybe a cup and a half. That's what I'm guessing anyway. So we will mix that all up. So all this is cornbread mix. I'll put 1 egg in it, about 1/3 cup milk, cup and a half to 2 cups of cheese. Depends on how cheesy you want it. You make it as cheesy as you want. Just mixing it up, and we're going to set this aside, because this is going to go on top and cook right with the casserole. I think that's good. Just the corn and cheese. It's going to be good. Alright, so now that's where I'm going to have to try to do this by hand. I'm doing this by myself again. So I got the ground turkey. Alright, so I put a little olive oil in my pan. I'm using a cast iron skillet. This is the one my mom gave me. I love this one. She gave me another big one too. More of a pot. Anyway, I can use this in the oven or on the stovetop, either way, which makes it so much easier. So if you got a cast iron skillet, this is the coated kind. I have my old black cast iron. You can do it without. Or you can mix these separately and just do them separately, then put them in a casserole dish. So either way you want. And this is ground turkey because I don't eat red meat. So if you want to use beef, that is just fine and probably has a little more flavor, but I always add a little flavor to mine to make it taste a little bit better. I think I've said this over and over that restaurants don't do this when they give you a turkey burger, is they don't put Worcestershire, and I'm telling you, it makes it taste almost just like red meat when you use Worcestershire. So, anyway, which I need the Worcestershire. This is spur of the moment video, if y'all can't tell. Alright. So, Heinz Worcestershire sauce. I do that when it's almost all fried up. So. Now we're getting a view of everything. My trash bag. Alright. So I'm going to try to put well, I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do because it's going to be hard to say. So I'm going to put the onion and bell pepper, where I've already chopped all that up, and the garlic in. Not the jalapenos. The jalapenos are going to wait till later. In fact, I'm going to put those over on a cutting board so I don't get that mixed up. Maybe I wasn't prepared to do a video today. Alright, so I got the bell peppers and the garlic, and all of this can go in at the same time because it can brown at about the same time as the meat does. Just mix it all up in there. And all you're doing is softening up those, especially the bell peppers, because it'll also be cooking in the oven. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven. Just going. I'm going to turn this down to medium. I always start it on high, but it really just needs to, I like to get it hot quicker. So, alright, so I'm going to set the oven, bake. 350 is going to be about right. I might increase that to about 375 when it's close to being done, but anyway, let's do it through preheat the oven to 350. Alright. So this is where I'm going to put a little bit of Worcestershire. It brings out, or it makes the color look a little more like ground beef too, but I'm telling you, it is so good like this. So if you like to eat light, or if you don't eat red meat, and you eat turkey like me, you're going to love just putting a little Worcestershire in. Makes it all the difference in the world. And, let's see, Cajun seasoning, Meat Magic. I'm going to wait on the Tabasco. So this is Paul Prudhomme's Meat Magic. It can make anything good. And it's not super salty, so you can add a little salt too, and I've got that sea salt over there that I'll probably add in later after I taste it. Now the Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning does have salt in it, so you have to kind of be careful. This is going to have so much other stuff in it with tomatoes and all that that I'm not too worried about it. Season all that up. Alright, so I'm just browning everything up. And you know, you'll usually see me do the bell peppers first, and then add the onion, and then the garlic. You don't want the garlic to burn. But on this one, I add the bell pepper and the onion all at the same time because you put tomatoes and stuff like that. You don't actually have to keep it cooking that long. As long as your meat is done, it's going to soften up. So, no crunchy bell peppers in the dish. Also, if you cook with ground turkey instead of ground beef, you'll realize there is not as much fat on ground turkey. This is, I think, the 97% fat-free, or 97% lean, I think is what they call it. Anyway, it doesn't produce a lot. That's some olive oil in there and a few juices, but not much at all. So you don't have to really drain it, because it's not going to be that greasy. But if I was using ground beef, I would drain this, because you don't want it too greasy when you're doing it. So now I'm going to dump in the tomatoes and the red chilies. I'm not sure if I'm going to need that tomato sauce or not, but I'm going to dump this in. Because there was some juice left over from when I cut up the tomatoes. And doing this with one hand, I can't get everything out, can I? There. Alright, so I'm going to stir this up real good. This is truly what they call a spur of the moment video. Basically all you're doing is kind of mixing it up now. Everything is just about cooked. Of course the tomatoes are heating up. This is also going to go in the oven, so it's going to cook even more when you do that. And this is when you never can resist a little Tabasco. Flavor of Tabasco is just so good. I use Crystal hot sauce too. And actually, you'll find people in New Orleans usually use the Crystal instead of the Tabasco. But Crystal hot sauce is great. It's a little bit hotter. It's a little bit different taste to it. But I like to cook with Tabasco because it has a good flavor to it. All right, let that cook for just a little bit. And I'm actually going to add some corn in here too. So I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of that corn. Remember when we made our cornbread? I dumped about half the cream corn in there. More than half, I think. So I'm putting the corn in. I have to name this YouTube video channel The One-Handed Cook. Doing everything with one hand and holding the camera in the other. So now you can see the tomato juices are kind of coming through, so it's a lot more juicy now. I've got the onion in there. And I'm going to let this cook, simmer, well, over about medium heat. Open with no lid for about 10 minutes. Alright, so if you notice, this has been cooking down for about 10 minutes, and you can see most of the juices are gone, they evaporate, and the juices are basically just from the tomatoes. I am going to add a little bit of tomato sauce in here. Maybe not the whole can, this is one of the cans that I got. If you want to have some, I'll go ahead. That was one of the small cans of tomato sauce, not one of the big ones, so. You're going to get dizzy with me running around with this camera. This is really hard to do with one person. And Billy is out in the yard working, so I'm going to let him be out in the heat while I stay inside. I did my yard work yesterday. Alright, so this is just about done. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the next part. On camera or not, but I'm going to try to do it. Maybe I'll set up the stand over here. Hold on. Alright, I tried to set up this new stand this way. I don't know if it's, I'm hoping you see this. Yeah, you can see it. Okay, so I'm going to dump, first I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to dump all of this on top and just cover it. I did turn the stove top off before I did this. I probably should have moved it from the burner. It probably would have been better. Anyway, you can just kind of go around. You have a little juices coming up over the edge, and that's fine. All of that's going to cook out. So that is it, and we're going to put it in the oven. Alright, so as you can see, I just put it in the oven. Stove top. Oven. Okay, and then I'm not doing anything else. That the cornbread mix is going to kind of mix in there and it'll cook. Closing it off, make it for about, let's see, it's about 350. I'll check it in about 20 minutes. Let's see, timer. And it should be getting close. I'll let you know how long it takes because I'm experimenting as I go. And you'll notice I still do have the jalapenos. I'm going to top those on top of the cornbread as soon as the cornbread's done, or when it gets close to being done anyway. And I'll put the jalapenos on top. Those are optional. I'm going to put the jalapenos. Actually, everything's optional because I'm just making this up on top of my head. So, okay. So this is what I call a break while it's in the oven. It's the dog break. Bye, Bella. Come here. Bella, Bella, Bella. Bella, Bella, Bella. Bella, Bella, Bella. So this is my entertainment while it's cooking. 2 hyped up French bulldogs. Alright, so that's about 20 minutes and you can see it's starting to get a little brown. The cornbread's not quite done yet. I can kind of touch it and kind of tell it's not quite done yet. But now's a good time to put on some jalapenos. So we're just gonna put those on, scatter those around. I did hand chop these. This was a pretty big jalapeno. Like I said, that's optional. I think it looks cooler. So I'm going to put it back in the oven now for maybe about 8 or 9 minutes, maybe. I'm just going to keep an eye on it now. Alright, so it is all done, and you can make sure it's done. That kind of touch of it gives a bounce back. It's done. So that is the cornbread turkey casserole, and I'm going to serve up just a tiny bit to take a taste. Alright, because I'm not ready to eat yet, I just got a tiny bit out to taste, and then I'm going to put this back in the oven, not on warm or anything, just letting it sit. The longer it sits, the more it sets. I was able to get it out with a spatula, but if you let it sit for like probably about 20-30 more minutes just in the oven off, it'll even get more set, or you can just almost do slices of it, which is really good. But I'm going to taste it.